The night descends softly, carrying with it a profound stillness that seems to stretch endlessly across the land. The air is cool, gentle, and almost weightless, brushing lightly against your skin as if inviting you to breathe more slowly, more deeply. Somewhere in the distance, the faint rustle of leaves whispers across the forest floor, mingling with the soft hum of night insects hidden in shadowed corners. The sky above spreads like a dark velvet canvas, speckled with stars that flicker quietly, distant and patient, as though they have been observing the world for centuries. It is in this delicate balance of calm and mystery that our journey begins. A journey through spaces where the ordinary meets the inexplicable, where the familiar landscapes of the night hide secrets waiting patiently for discovery. Tonight, we will explore places that have long fascinated the human imagination, where the quiet solitude of rural deserts, abandoned airfields, and isolated forests seem to attract the unexplained. Here, strange lights appear and vanish without warning, shadows move with silent intent, and the faint traces of things unexplainable linger just at the edge of perception. These are not merely stories told to startle or entertain. They are moments observed by those who have wandered these spaces at night, accounts preserved in memory, journal, and sometimes in the official record. It is a world that balances on the cusp between known and unknown, familiar and alien, natural and supernatural. Even as you settle into the gentle rhythm of your breathing, consider the history that blankets these quiet locations. Across decades, witnesses have reported phenomena that resist conventional explanation: lights that hover silently above the desert floor, figures glimpsed in shadowed woods that seem almost human but move with an unnatural grace, and sensations that hint at forces far beyond ordinary understanding. Historians and researchers have noted that many of these reports emerge from places chosen for their isolation, places where the human mind, unhurried and untroubled by the constant pulse of daily life, becomes particularly receptive to the subtle, the fleeting, and the unusual. There is a calm in these observations, a slow, steady awareness that the night is vast, full of hidden stories and gentle mysteries. As the night deepens, the landscape itself seems to take on a life of its own. Rolling hills, quiet rivers, and empty fields are bathed in the soft glow of moonlight, their contours gentle and familiar yet tinged with something unspoken. There is a kind of dialogue between the watcher and the watched. The human eyes, attuned to shadow and light, detect patterns and movements that hint at the unknown, while the world itself remains still, almost reverent in its silence. This is a night that encourages reflection, a night that invites you to let go of the noise of the waking world, to drift closer to the threshold of imagination, where mystery is not threatening but soothing, not urgent but patiently enduring. In the moments that follow, as you listen to these stories, let your mind settle into this rhythm. Picture yourself walking slowly along a quiet path, feeling the texture of grass beneath your feet, the gentle sway of trees overhead, and the occasional glimmer of a light that seems almost alive, moving gracefully across the horizon. Imagine the hush of distant animals, the faint whisper of wind through empty streets, the way the night seems to wrap itself around everything, softening edges and drawing every sense into a heightened state of gentle awareness. This is the invitation of the evening, to rest, to wander, and to witness quietly the subtle, hidden wonders that occur in the spaces between sleep and wakefulness, between ordinary life and the mysteries that quietly linger in the night. Tonight, you will drift through stories of ranches, forests, and airfields where lights appear without source, where shadows move with silent purpose, and where the night itself seems to hold its breath. Each observation, each account, each gentle mystery is presented not to alarm, but to soothe, to guide you into a state of calm intrigue. Let the quiet envelop you, let the night's hush draw you deeper into contemplation, and let your mind prepare to follow the soft glow of unexplained lights into realms where the ordinary and the extraordinary exist side by side. In this calm, you are both observer and participant, ready to journey into the gentle embrace of night's secrets. As you continue to settle into the gentle rhythm of the night, Allow your mind to wander across landscapes where the ordinary world fades and the mysterious quietly emerges. Imagine vast stretches of desert, where the ground shimmers faintly under a silver moon, and the air carries the subtle scent of sagebrush and dry earth. Here and there, abandoned ranches lie quietly, their fences weathered and broken, their structures hinting at lives long gone yet not entirely forgotten. The quiet of these spaces is profound, as though the earth itself pauses to listen, creating an atmosphere perfectly attuned to both calm reflection and subtle wonder. Every shadow, every gentle flicker of light seems to hold a story, waiting to be perceived by eyes that are patient, open, and unhurried. Forests, too, offer a different kind of quiet magic. Towering trees stretch their limbs skyward, their leaves rustling faintly in the night breeze. The dense canopy softens the moonlight, scattering it into silver fragments that dance across the forest floor. Among the undergrowth, soft movements may catch your attention. A deer stepping carefully through the shadows, the sudden flash of an owl's eyes reflecting starlight, or the faint shimmer of lights hovering beyond your immediate vision. These forests, isolated and often untouched by human disturbance, create conditions where subtle phenomena, lights that appear and disappear, figures glimpsed out of the corner of the eye, sounds that seem almost sentient, can be observed with both wonder and a sense of safety. There is a rhythm here, slow and deliberate, that encourages quiet contemplation and deep relaxation. Abandoned airfields, often forgotten by time, offer another layer of intrigue. Long stretches of cracked tarmac and rusting hangars seem suspended between past and present, evoking both nostalgia and curiosity. In these places, the silence is punctuated only by distant winds or the occasional night bird, yet countless reports describe inexplicable occurrences, strange lights moving in formations too precise for natural phenomena, shadows crossing the perimeter with silent intent, and a sense of being watched by something unseen yet attentive. The isolation, combined with wide open skies and minimal artificial light, creates an almost perfect stage for both human imagination and unexplained events. Observers often note that the mind, in such quiet and empty spaces, becomes more receptive to subtle signals, whether they are natural anomalies, optical illusions, or phenomena that truly resist explanation. It is in these settings that the human experience becomes intertwined with the unexplained. Researchers studying eyewitness reports note that perception in low-light conditions can be both heightened and subtly distorted. The combination of anticipation, quiet, and isolation can make even the most ordinary movements seem mysterious. Yet, across decades, patterns emerge, lights that hover silently, forms glimpsed fleetingly in shadow, sounds that defy conventional explanation, all documented with care by those who venture into these spaces at night. The repetition of these accounts across different locations and cultures suggests that something more than simple imagination may be at work, inviting calm curiosity rather than fear. Historically, these remote locations have attracted attention not only from observers but also from governments and investigators. Ranches like Skinwalker Ranch became sites of prolonged study due to recurring unexplained phenomena, while abandoned airfields and forests were occasionally monitored for unusual aerial activity during the Cold War era. These investigations often yielded conflicting reports. Official files sometimes dismissed sightings as misidentifications, atmospheric phenomena, or hoaxes, yet eyewitnesses consistently described experiences that defied easy explanation. This tension between documented skepticism and persistent first-hand reports adds a subtle layer of intrigue, a gentle push and pull between rationality and wonder that makes the night feel alive with quiet possibility. Culturally, these spaces have taken on a life of their own. Folklore, local legends, and modern storytelling often converge in remote deserts, forests, and airfields. In some areas, stories of ghostly ranchers, shadowy figures, or hovering lights are passed down through generations, their details shifting subtly with each telling, yet the core mystery endures. Even in contemporary media, these landscapes provide settings for documentaries, novels, and films, all emphasizing the same blend of isolation, calm, and subtle unease. For a listener, the experience is both soothing and thought-provoking. The mind can wander safely among these stories, exploring the edge of the unknown while feeling the quiet assurance of being in the comfort of one's own space. As you continue to drift gently through this world, picture yourself moving slowly along a path that winds through these landscapes. The moonlight illuminates the contours of hills, glances off the edges of broken fences, and scatters softly through trees. Here, every sight and sound is both ordinary and extraordinary, every gentle rustle or distant glow carrying the potential to hint at something more. Allow your awareness to expand gradually, noticing the subtle interplay of shadow and light, the quiet rhythm of the wind, and the delicate balance between what is known and what remains a mystery. This is the essence of tonight's journey, a careful, soothing exploration of spaces where nature, history, and the unexplained converge, setting the stage for the stories and encounters that await as we move deeper into the night. In these forgotten ranches, haunted forests, and abandoned airfields, the ordinary and the extraordinary coexist without conflict. Every silent corner and distant light serves as an invitation to observe, imagine, and relax. Let your mind drift along with these quiet landscapes, following the gentle curves of terrain and the subtle shimmer of the night. Each step, each moment, is calm, deliberate, and meditative, a preparation for the stories of encounters, sightings, and whispered mysteries that will unfold as the night deepens, inviting both curiosity and sleep in equal measure. As the night deepens and your senses settle into a gentle rhythm, let us turn our attention to the long history of strange lights, shadowy figures, and unexplained events that have quietly punctuated remote landscapes. These are not recent anomalies. Human fascination with mysterious aerial phenomena stretches back centuries, recorded in diaries, newspapers, and governmental archives. Long before the age of modern technology, travelers and ranchers described lights hovering over empty fields, strange shapes gliding silently across the night sky, and shadows that seemed to move with purpose. Some accounts were dismissed at the time as imagination or superstition, yet their consistency across different locations and generations suggests a persistent presence, one that intrigues without threatening, and that invites us into quiet reflection on the mysteries that endure. During the mid-20th century, attention to these phenomena intensified, partly due to broader technological developments and geopolitical concerns. The post-war era, with its advent of rapid aviation, missile tests, and heightened surveillance, coincided with an increasing number of sightings across rural and isolated areas. The most famous government investigation of its kind, Project Blue Book, compiled thousands of reports of unexplained aerial activity in the United States from the 1950s to the 1960s. While many cases were ultimately categorized as misidentifications, atmospheric anomalies, or hoaxes, a significant portion remained unexplained, quietly documented in official files. Observers often described silent, glowing objects moving in ways inconsistent with known aircraft, hovering or accelerating without sound, and sometimes interacting with the environment in subtle yet remarkable ways. For listeners tonight, these accounts serve not as cause for alarm but as gentle, thought-provoking invitations to explore the unknown. Some of the most intriguing locations, like the infamous Skinwalker Ranch, have long histories of unusual occurrences. Stories of mysterious lights, strange creatures, and sudden, inexplicable sounds have been reported for decades, if not centuries. Local records and oral histories recount incidents where livestock disappeared or were found behaving unusually, while ranchers described strange tracks appearing overnight on fields that had previously been undisturbed. Even when official investigations were inconclusive, these recurring reports created a quiet tension, a sense that the land itself was witness to phenomena that eluded conventional explanation. Researchers who studied these sites often noted patterns of repetitive anomalies, lending a sense of continuity across decades that both grounds the stories in reality and deepens their mysterious quality. Across the wider world, Other isolated regions have similarly documented subtle yet persistent phenomena. Forested valleys, abandoned airfields, and desert expanses have produced reports of lights, shadow figures, and inexplicable sounds that appear suddenly and disappear just as quietly. Historians and folklorists note that many of these accounts share strikingly similar details: glowing orbs hovering silently, shadow-like entities that avoid direct observation, and brief, fleeting glimpses of objects that defy conventional physics. The repetition of these motifs suggests that while culture shapes how these experiences are described, there is also a consistent underlying pattern, an enigmatic thread linking disparate locations, times, and witnesses. It is a thread that draws gently on our curiosity, inviting reflection without urgency or alarm. Eyewitness psychology plays a subtle role in how these historical reports have been preserved and interpreted. Researchers emphasize that low light conditions, fatigue, and heightened attention in isolated settings can make ordinary phenomena appear extraordinary. A distant reflection of moonlight on a metallic surface, the glow of a distant plane, or even bioluminescent insects could be perceived as something far more mysterious. Yet, even with these considerations, many accounts defy conventional explanations. Observers often describe behaviors and patterns that would be impossible for known animals or human-made objects, including lights that vanish instantly, figures that move against the wind, or shapes that shift silently across open fields. These recurring patterns across decades suggest a phenomenon that is subtle, patient, and observant in its own right. The interplay between official reports and local narratives adds another layer of intrigue. Government documents from the 1950s through the present often describe cases in clinical, neutral terms, emphasizing natural explanations or the need for further study. Eyewitnesses, by contrast, convey a more immediate, personal experience, the nervous anticipation of noticing a strange light in a silent field, the fleeting sense of being observed by something unseen, or the faint hum of energy in the air as a shadow passes. Researchers argue that the tension between official skepticism and persistent first-hand accounts enriches our understanding, highlighting both the reliability and the enigma of these experiences. For the listener, this balance invites a meditative curiosity, a calm awareness that there are layers of reality that can coexist without contradiction, ordinary life alongside extraordinary phenomena. Cultural context further illuminates these historical accounts. Legends of spectral travelers, ghostly ranchers, and night visitors have long been part of the folklore in isolated regions. Indigenous narratives, early settler diaries, and local oral histories all contribute subtle, layered explanations for strange lights and shadowy figures. For example, some Native American traditions speak of beings that traverse both the physical and spiritual planes, often appearing near remote lands where humans tread lightly. Similarly, early 20th century settlers frequently documented nights where animals behaved strangely, lights danced on the horizon, and unexplained sounds filled the air. These cultural perspectives do not merely embellish the stories. They provide a framework for understanding how human perception and belief interact with genuine phenomena, enriching both historical depth and narrative resonance. Even scientific observers have occasionally noted anomalous patterns worth reflection. Atmospheric studies suggest that certain light phenomena, like ball lightning or rare refractive effects, could account for some sightings. Yet these natural explanations do not address every aspect described consistently in historical records. Silent motion against prevailing winds, rapid acceleration, precise hovering, and occasional interactions with physical objects. The persistence of unexplained elements across decades challenges both the mind and the imagination in a gentle way, encouraging a calm, thoughtful engagement with the mysteries rather than abrupt conclusions. This tension between the natural and the unexplained forms the heartbeat of our exploration, a rhythmic invitation for both curiosity and calm as we move deeper into tonight's journey. As you continue to drift through the quiet night with these stories in mind, imagine the layered tapestry of history, ranchers' notebooks filled with careful observations, government files cataloging anonymous reports, and cultural narratives quietly transmitted across generations. Each layer contributes to a sense of continuity, grounding these mysterious events in time and place while leaving space for wonder. These are not tales of fright or urgency. They are subtle, patient phenomena, waiting for those who move slowly and notice carefully. The night itself becomes a companion, wrapping the listener in a gentle awareness of mystery, calm, and observation, preparing the mind for the next stage, the personal experiences of those who have stood beneath these skies and witnessed the inexplicable firsthand. As the night deepens and your senses continue to attune to the subtle rhythms of the dark, let us turn to the stories of those who have walked beneath these skies and observed the inexplicable firsthand. These are not fleeting glimpses or imagined shadows. These are accounts recorded carefully, recounted in journals, interviews, and oral histories, each carrying a quiet weight of credibility and wonder. Imagine standing in a vast open desert, or in the still heart of a dense forest, feeling the soft brush of wind against your skin, hearing the gentle rustle of leaves or the faint call of a distant animal. In these moments of quiet, witnesses have reported encounters that blend the ordinary and the extraordinary, the calm and the unsettling, in a way that captivates both the imagination and the senses. One rancher, who spent decades tending cattle in an isolated valley, described nights when lights would appear silently above the horizon, hovering in patterns too precise for natural phenomena. They would move slowly, almost cautiously, before disappearing without a trace. Sometimes the lights seemed to follow him as he walked across the fields, maintaining a consistent distance but never intruding too closely. Other times, the animals reacted first. Cattle would cluster together, nervous and alert, ears pointed toward the unseen presence, while the rancher felt an unspoken awareness of being observed. These experiences were meticulously documented in personal logs, later shared with researchers who noted the remarkable consistency across months and even years, creating a subtle, persistent pattern that defied easy explanation. In forested regions, hikers and local residents have described similarly enigmatic encounters. A couple walking along a quiet trail one summer night recounted a sequence of glowing orbs that appeared suspended between the trees, drifting slowly, as if aware of their presence. The orbs moved with an intelligence that seemed almost sentient, pausing and shifting direction in subtle ways, yet never approaching too closely. The witnesses noted the profound silence surrounding the scene, broken only by the occasional distant owl or rustle of leaves. Psychological studies suggest that low-light conditions heighten perception, making subtle movements more noticeable, yet the deliberate behavior described, patterned, intelligent, and repeatable across multiple accounts, suggests something beyond ordinary misperception. For the listener, these details provide a calm, reflective intrigue, inviting quiet curiosity rather than alarm. Even abandoned airfields, places steeped in history and silence, have their share of accounts. Former security personnel and night watchmen have reported lights that moved across the tarmac with unnatural precision, sometimes appearing in geometric formations. One retired guard described a night when an array of lights hovered silently over the runway, forming a triangular pattern that remained perfectly stable for several minutes before vanishing in a blink. He recalled the sensation of awe mixed with calm anticipation, the kind that comes when one realizes they are witnessing something remarkable yet not threatening. These encounters were corroborated in logs, official notes, and photographs where possible, adding layers of credibility without diminishing the sense of gentle mystery. For listeners lying quietly in bed, imagining these events evokes both intrigue and a meditative sense of wonder. In some cases, witnesses described phenomena that blended the paranormal with the extraterrestrial. A group of hikers recalled shadows moving independently of light sources, shapes that seemed to shift at the edge of perception, always keeping a respectful distance. Occasionally, a subtle hum or vibration accompanied these shadows, faint enough to be almost imperceptible but distinct to those paying close attention. Researchers studying these reports emphasize the consistency across different locations and populations. The subtle interplay of light, shadow, and sound, combined with the calm yet profound sense of being observed, recurs in accounts worldwide. These patterns invite reflection on the nature of perception, the boundary between ordinary and extraordinary experience, and the ways in which the human mind interprets subtle environmental cues during moments of heightened attention. The psychological dimension of these encounters cannot be overlooked. Many witnesses report feelings of awe, curiosity, and a gentle tension rather than fear. The human brain, especially in quiet, isolated, low-light conditions, is particularly sensitive to patterns and anomalies, which can amplify the significance of otherwise ordinary stimuli. Yet, even with these considerations, the details often resist reduction to simple explanations. Lights that accelerate instantly, figures that appear and vanish seamlessly, sounds that have no identifiable source. Researchers note that this combination of subtle physical stimuli, environmental context, and cognitive expectation produces experiences that are both believable and deeply mysterious, a perfect balance for gentle bedtime storytelling, where intrigue and calm coexist. Cultural context also shapes the way these accounts are remembered and conveyed. In regions with rich local folklore, witnesses often describe experiences using imagery derived from indigenous legends, historical tales, and local myths. A rancher might refer to a figure as a spirit watcher, while a forest traveler might describe glowing orbs as will-o'-the-wisps. These cultural lenses do not diminish the validity of the experiences. Instead, they provide an interpretive framework that makes the unknown accessible and meaningful. For the listener, this interplay between perception and narrative adds depth and richness, allowing the imagination to wander gently through the subtle mysteries of night, without alarm or urgency. The consistency of these accounts across decades and locations reinforces their credibility and contributes to their gentle allure. Whether it is a rancher noting strange lights in the desert, a hiker observing glowing orbs in a forest, or a security guard witnessing geometric patterns of illumination over an abandoned airfield, the details share remarkable similarities. Silent motion, attentive observation, fleeting appearances, and a pervasive sense of calm curiosity recur in nearly every report. This continuity encourages a reflective mindset, allowing the listener to drift through the stories with a sense of quiet engagement, imagining the scenes vividly while remaining relaxed and comfortable. Finally, as we move through these accounts, it becomes clear that the mystery is not simply in what is seen, but in how it is experienced. Witnesses consistently describe a feeling of being gently observed, an awareness of presence rather than threat, a connection to something larger than themselves. The night becomes both a stage and a companion, offering experiences that are subtle, serene, and profoundly thought-provoking. For you, lying quietly in your bed, this section of the journey invites calm attention and imaginative engagement, preparing the mind for deeper exploration of government reports, scientific studies, and alternative theories that will unfold in the coming sections. Each story is a quiet step into the unknown, a gentle encounter with phenomena that exist at the edge of perception, guiding you toward rest while keeping the mind quietly intrigued. As the night settles deeper and your mind drifts softly through the landscapes and experiences we have already explored, it is worth considering how official institutions and public media have approached these unusual phenomena. Across decades, governments, scientific organizations, and journalists have attempted to understand and document the lights, shadows, and inexplicable movements reported by countless observers. Their efforts, though sometimes conflicting, provide a fascinating framework for understanding the delicate boundary between the known and the unknown, and they remind us that the mysteries of the night have long captured both personal curiosity and collective attention. One of the earliest systematic government investigations into unexplained aerial phenomena in the United States was Project Blue Book, initiated by the Air Force in the 1950s. Its purpose was to study sightings, determine whether they posed any national security threat, and provide scientific analysis. Over the course of nearly 2 decades, thousands of reports were collected, categorized, and analyzed. The majority were explained as misidentified aircraft, weather balloons, atmospheric phenomena, or optical illusions. Yet, a small but significant percentage remained classified as unexplained, with detailed accounts describing objects that moved in ways inconsistent with known technology, hovered silently, or appeared and vanished without warning. Researchers and historians emphasize that these unresolved cases provide a subtle but undeniable thread of mystery, quietly suggesting that not all phenomena of the night can be easily rationalized. In the decades since, government interest has continued in various forms. The Pentagon's Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, ADIP, revealed publicly in 2017, investigated sightings of unidentified aerial phenomena by military personnel, many of which occurred near training grounds, isolated airfields, and deserts, places strikingly similar to those we have been exploring tonight. Videos released from these investigations show objects defying conventional flight mechanics, accelerating without apparent propulsion, or changing direction abruptly. While official statements often remain neutral, emphasizing ongoing analysis and the need for further data, eyewitness accounts from trained observers, pilots, radar operators, and military personnel add layers of credibility and intrigue. These accounts, described calmly and factually, echo patterns observed in civilian reports, connecting isolated night experiences with systematic, documented investigations. Media coverage has also played a subtle yet profound role in shaping public perception. Newspapers, magazines, documentaries, and now digital media have chronicled both sensational and sober accounts of unusual lights, shadowy figures, and other phenomena. Early television documentaries captured the fascination of viewers, presenting interviews with witnesses alongside footage of the night sky, carefully edited to maintain both suspense and calm reflection. More recent online platforms allow witnesses to share their own recordings, often raw and unfiltered, providing a more personal and immersive view of these experiences. Media coverage has at times amplified skepticism, at times encouraged belief, yet it consistently highlights the tension between official explanations and first-hand observation, a tension that quietly fuels both curiosity and contemplation. Scientific investigation adds another layer to this narrative, bridging observation with empirical reasoning. Researchers have examined phenomena that might explain unusual lights, including atmospheric refraction, temperature inversions, electrical discharges, and optical illusions. In some cases, these explanations account for fleeting observations, soft glows, or movement that appears unusual but is consistent with natural laws. Yet scientists also acknowledge that a subset of sightings remains unexplained, showing behavior inconsistent with known physics or human technology. For the listener, these explanations provide reassurance that the world is understandable, while the unresolved cases sustain the gentle allure of mystery. The interplay between rational investigation and unexplained phenomena mirrors the larger pattern of night itself, order and unpredictability coexisting in quiet balance. Eyewitness accounts continue to intersect with official and scientific documentation in compelling ways. Researchers studying isolated ranches, forests, and airfields have found correlations between historical sightings and modern reports, sometimes separated by decades but remarkably similar in description. This continuity reinforces the credibility of personal experiences while highlighting the persistent, subtle nature of these phenomena. Observers frequently describe a calm awareness rather than fear, a sense of being quietly watched or accompanied by something unseen yet non-threatening. These reports, when juxtaposed with government data and scientific analysis, create a layered understanding. The night is a shared space where mystery and observation meet, offering both reflection and gentle intrigue. An important aspect of these investigations is the cautious language often employed in official reports. Phrases like "unable to identify," "further analysis required," and "observed phenomena inconsistent with known aircraft" reflect both the limits of current knowledge and a careful attempt to remain objective. This neutrality enhances credibility, particularly when contrasted with the vivid and personal nature of eyewitness accounts. It is this balance between systematic, dispassionate investigation and intimate, human experience that gives these stories their unique resonance. For the listener, it models a way of approaching the unknown calmly, with curiosity and respect, allowing the imagination to wander without anxiety. Journalists and researchers alike note that the locations themselves, the abandoned airfields, quiet ranches, and isolated forests, often play a subtle role in the phenomena. Isolation reduces ambient light and noise, creating conditions where subtle movements, distant glows, or shadowy forms are more easily observed. Witnesses frequently describe nights when ordinary features, fences, hills, and tree lines, seem altered by moonlight and shadow, enhancing the sense of strangeness while maintaining a serene atmosphere. Scientists studying perception suggest that the combination of low-light conditions, solitude, and heightened attention can amplify both actual and perceived phenomena, contributing to the consistency and intrigue of historical and contemporary accounts. Finally, it is important to recognize that the combined perspective of government reports, media coverage, and scientific study does not eliminate the mystery. Rather, it deepens it. Observers, both civilian and professional, continue to document experiences that challenge conventional explanation, while investigations provide a measured framework for understanding what is known and what remains unknown. For the listener tonight, this section serves as a gentle bridge, from personal narratives to broader investigation, from isolated curiosity to collective documentation. It prepares the mind to explore alternative interpretations, paranormal possibilities, and cultural contexts, all while maintaining a calm, contemplative state, ready to drift further into the subtle mysteries of the night. As the night stretches on and your mind drifts deeper into the soft rhythm of quiet landscapes and gentle observations, we turn now to the possibilities that lie beyond conventional explanation. While official reports and scientific studies provide grounding and context, the human imagination has long sought to understand what may exist at the edges of perception. Across centuries and cultures, unexplained lights, shadowy figures, and subtle phenomena have inspired theories that extend beyond the terrestrial, explorations of realms both paranormal and extraterrestrial, of dimensions and presences that resist ordinary understanding. These are not tales meant to alarm. Rather, they are invitations to wonder, to contemplate, and to drift along the gentle currents of curiosity that flow through the night. One of the most compelling alternative frameworks considers extraterrestrial involvement. Researchers and eyewitnesses alike have noted recurring patterns in sightings, objects that hover silently, move with impossible speed, or execute maneuvers inconsistent with known aircraft. Some propose that these observations suggest intelligent life beyond our planet, beings capable of traversing vast distances and observing quietly from the shadows. Historical accounts, ranging from the earliest recorded flying discs to recent Pentagon-released footage, demonstrate a consistency in behavior, size, and movement that intrigues both skeptics and believers. The quiet precision of these phenomena, their deliberate avoidance of human contact, and their repeated appearances in isolated locations all contribute to a sense of mystery that is calming in its predictability yet compelling in its impossibility. Paranormal interpretations offer another layer of intrigue. Across different regions and cultures, legends of spirits, shadow beings, and interdimensional entities have long provided frameworks for understanding strange nocturnal experiences. In the American Southwest, Navajo traditions speak of skinwalkers, beings that traverse boundaries between the physical and spiritual realms. Witnesses at Skinwalker Ranch have reported shadowy figures and strange lights, blending these older folkloric concepts with modern observation. Elsewhere, forest dwellers recount encounters with will-o'-the-wisps, luminous orbs that appear and disappear along the treeline, guiding, warning, or observing those who pass. These tales, when viewed through the lens of cultural continuity, provide a gentle bridge between the imagination and observation, showing how human experience has long been intertwined with phenomena that resist easy categorization. Cryptid and terrestrial anomalies also populate the spectrum of alternative theories. Some researchers suggest that unusual sounds, animal behaviors, or nocturnal disturbances may indicate the presence of undiscovered species, creatures that move silently, observe from the shadows, and leave behind traces that are difficult to interpret. While these possibilities remain speculative, they add depth to the narrative of nighttime mystery. The desert plains, quiet forests, and abandoned airfields that host sightings of lights and shadows are also habitats where rare and elusive wildlife might exist, and the interplay between known and unknown species contributes to the richness of the experience. For the listener, this adds a contemplative layer, allowing the mind to wander gently among possibilities that are fascinating yet serene, reinforcing the calm intrigue that guides the journey. Some theories venture even further, exploring the idea of interdimensional phenomena. These suggest that certain areas of the Earth, especially isolated or energetically significant locations, may serve as thin points between realities. Lights that vanish instantly, shapes that shift impossibly, or shadows that behave independently of physical laws could, in this framework, be glimpses of other dimensions brushing against our own. Historical accounts and modern reports often describe fleeting experiences consistent with this hypothesis. Brief observations, subtle sensations of presence, and patterns that seem purposeful yet non-intrusive. Such interpretations, while speculative, offer a sense of wonder rather than fear, allowing the listener to drift through possibilities without tension, guided by curiosity and imagination. Psychological and perceptual theories intersect seamlessly with these alternative explanations. Human cognition is particularly sensitive to subtle environmental cues in low-light, isolated conditions. The mind instinctively seeks patterns, recognizes movement, and interprets ambiguous stimuli. While this can account for some observations, the consistency and specificity of reports across decades and regions suggest that something more may be at play. These phenomena often share common qualities: intelligence in movement, deliberate timing, and repeated appearances in the same locations. This blend of human perception and external mystery creates a layered experience that is both believable and soothing, allowing the mind to engage without alarm, sustaining a calm intrigue that is ideal for bedtime reflection. Cultural echoes of these alternative theories further enrich the experience. Folk tales, mythologies, and local traditions have long interpreted unexplained lights and movements through symbolic and narrative frameworks. European forests spoke of fey lights that guided or watched travelers. Asian legends describe spirits of the land moving silently in the night. Native American stories tell of guardians and watchers who occupy spaces between worlds. Modern interpretations of UFOs, shadow figures, and subtle energies often mirror these ancient frameworks, revealing a continuity of human fascination with the unseen. This layering of cultural context provides both grounding and imaginative freedom for the listener. One can acknowledge patterns, recognize history, and allow the mind to wander among possibilities that are intriguing yet peaceful. The interaction between these theories and documented accounts is subtle but compelling. Witnesses frequently describe experiences that blend characteristics of multiple frameworks. A hovering light that moves with intelligence, a shadow that behaves independently, a sensation of presence that is simultaneously watchful and benign. Researchers note that the more isolated and quiet the location, the more pronounced these phenomena seem to be, suggesting an interplay between environment, perception, and potentially unknown forces. This creates a meditative, reflective pattern for the listener. The night is both safe and mysterious, full of gentle surprises that engage the imagination without provoking fear or agitation. For the mind gently preparing for sleep, these alternative theories serve as a soft guide through curiosity and wonder. The calm pacing of observations, the quiet intelligence suggested in movements, and the interplay of cultural, historical, and modern interpretations encourage a contemplative engagement. The listener may imagine watching a distant light hover over a quiet desert, observing a shadow glide across a forest floor, or feeling a subtle presence in the air at a deserted airfield, all while remaining completely safe, enveloped by calm and the quiet embrace of the night. This balance between intrigue and tranquility is the essence of bedtime storytelling in the realm of the unexplained, mysterious enough to hold attention, gentle enough to induce relaxation. Ultimately, these alternative interpretations, extraterrestrial, paranormal, cryptid, interdimensional, invite the listener to explore possibilities without urgency, to drift among questions that may never be answered, and to appreciate the subtle beauty of the unknown. They highlight the richness of nighttime experiences, the layers of history, culture, and observation, and the quiet ways in which mystery can coexist with calm. As we move forward in our journey, these theories prepare the mind for reflection on cultural impact, modern investigations, and the personal resonance of the night, all while maintaining a soothing rhythm conducive to sleep, curiosity, and wonder. As the night stretches gently onward, we pause to reflect on the subtle ways these phenomena, silent lights, shadowy figures, and fleeting presences, have influenced human culture, storytelling, and imagination. Across centuries and continents, encounters with the unexplained have shaped myths, legends, and artistic expression, creating a rich tapestry that intertwines observation with interpretation. These cultural imprints do not merely embellish stories. They offer a lens through which humans have understood and engaged with the unknown. They remind us that curiosity, awe, and reflection are universal experiences, passed quietly from generation to generation, allowing the mysterious night to remain both comforting and compelling. In many indigenous traditions, the night has long been regarded as a space where the spiritual and physical worlds intersect. Native American stories, for example, describe guardians, watchers, and shape-shifting beings that move silently through isolated lands. These tales often emphasize respect, observation, and humility in the presence of forces beyond ordinary perception. They convey subtle lessons. The night is to be honored, mysteries to be approached with care, and observation to be gentle and attentive. Witnesses who experience unusual lights or shadowy figures in these regions sometimes interpret them through these cultural frameworks, blending personal experience with the collective wisdom of centuries. The result is a serene, layered understanding of mystery, where curiosity and caution coexist in harmony. European folklore contributes similarly rich imagery. Forests were often seen as liminal spaces where fairies, spirits, or will-o'-the-wisps could appear unexpectedly, guiding, observing, or sometimes testing those who wandered within. These tales share surprising parallels with modern accounts of lights drifting silently through trees or figures moving just beyond sight. The repetition of such motifs across cultures and time periods suggests that humans have always been attuned to subtle nocturnal phenomena, interpreting them in ways that resonate with collective fears, hopes, and imagination. For listeners lying quietly in bed, this continuity offers reassurance. The night is not chaotic or threatening, but a space rich with meaning, beauty, and gentle curiosity. The influence of these phenomena extends into modern media as well. Films, documentaries, television shows, and online content frequently depict UFOs, paranormal lights, and shadowy presences, often drawing inspiration from historical accounts and indigenous lore. Carefully produced visual narratives emphasize atmosphere, pacing, and subtle detail rather than overt threat, allowing audiences to experience the thrill of the unknown in a safe, reflective context. Even sensationalized media often highlights patterns and behaviors that echo real-life reports: hovering lights, silent movement, fleeting appearances. These portrayals reinforce curiosity while maintaining calm engagement, helping viewers explore the mysteries of night safely from their own homes. Literature has similarly embraced the subtle allure of nocturnal phenomena. From ghost stories to science fiction, Writers have long been fascinated by what lurks at the edge of perception. Novels and short stories describe travelers encountering silent lights over deserted landscapes, shadowy figures observing from forests, or objects moving in ways that defy expectation. The pacing in these narratives often mirrors natural rhythms, slow, deliberate, and attentive, allowing readers to linger in the world of the story, notice small details, and feel the quiet pull of wonder. For a bedtime listener, this literary tradition aligns perfectly with the goals of sleep stories: gentle suspense, immersive observation, and calm curiosity. Public fascination with UFOs and paranormal phenomena has also fostered communities of investigation, discussion, and shared storytelling. Researchers, hobbyists, and amateur observers gather to document sightings, analyze patterns, and explore historical accounts. Forums, podcasts, and online groups provide spaces where individuals share experiences, compare observations, and reflect on their personal encounters with the night's mysteries. These communities underscore a comforting truth: fascination with the unknown is a shared human experience, a gentle reminder that curiosity and reflection are not only natural but universal. For the listener, this connection, subtle, indirect, yet deeply human, enhances the sense of calm intrigue, as if the quiet night is observed collectively, across time and space. Art and music have also responded to nocturnal phenomena, using visual and auditory mediums to capture the essence of quiet mystery. Paintings of moonlit landscapes, silent forests, and distant, hovering lights evoke the serenity and awe of observation, while music inspired by the night's subtle rhythms creates an immersive, meditative environment. These artistic expressions provide another bridge between experience and imagination, allowing individuals to engage with mystery gently and reflectively. For listeners settling into sleep, such imagery and soundscapes reinforce the sense of calm, encouraging imagination to wander while maintaining a slow, relaxed rhythm. Cultural fascination with unexplained phenomena also shapes perception. Studies in psychology suggest that exposure to myths, media, and communal storytelling can heighten attentiveness to subtle environmental cues, making observers more likely to notice, remember, and interpret unusual events. In this way, culture subtly prepares the mind to perceive the night's mysteries without fear, blending curiosity with comfort. When a light flickers across a quiet field, or a shadow moves silently through the forest, the experience resonates with centuries of human observation, linking individual perception with a collective history of reflection and wonder. Finally, cultural impact reinforces a gentle rhythm of exploration and relaxation. Across stories, folklore, media, art, and communal experience, the night is framed as a space for curiosity, observation, and quiet engagement. Mystery is not something to rush toward or fear. It is something to notice, consider, and allow to unfold slowly. For the listener tonight, this perspective enhances the journey through abandoned ranches, haunted forests, and silent airfields. Each light, each shadow, each fleeting presence is part of a continuum of human fascination, both ancient and modern, inviting calm reflection, gentle curiosity, and a serene engagement with the unknown. Through the interplay of historical narratives, cultural frameworks, artistic expression, and shared human curiosity, the night's mysteries become more than isolated events. They become part of a living tapestry of observation, imagination, and reflection. They remind us that the unknown can be experienced safely, gently, and beautifully, encouraging a state of calm awareness that is ideal for relaxation and sleep. The night, in all its quiet mystery, offers both fascination and peace, preparing the mind for the next phase of our journey: modern investigations, contemporary research, and the subtle ways that technology and observation continue to illuminate, without dispelling, the enduring mysteries of the night. As the night deepens and your breathing slows into a gentle, rhythmic cadence, let us turn our attention to modern investigations, efforts to observe, document, and understand these quiet mysteries using the tools and technology of our time. While historical accounts, folklore, and eyewitness testimonies provide rich context, contemporary research adds a layer of methodical observation, capturing phenomena with instruments and approaches unavailable to earlier generations. Yet even with advanced technology, the night continues to hold its secrets, offering glimpses of the unexplained in ways that are as serene as they are captivating. The quiet anticipation of observing, recording, and reflecting on these occurrences encourages the mind to remain attentive without alarm, perfectly suited to a journey toward rest and contemplation. In recent decades, researchers have employed an array of instruments to monitor isolated locations. Infrared cameras, motion sensors, radar systems, and multispectral imaging. These tools are often deployed at ranches, deserts, abandoned airfields, and dense forests, the very landscapes where strange lights and shadowy figures have been reported for decades. Some investigations focus on capturing unidentified aerial phenomena, UAPs, while others explore subtle terrestrial anomalies, unexplained sounds, fleeting movements, or changes in electromagnetic readings. Unlike the hurried excitement often depicted in media, field researchers describe these observations with patience and calm precision, waiting quietly for moments when the night itself reveals something unusual. The act of watching becomes meditative, an exercise in gentle attention, echoing the reflective rhythm we encourage in tonight's storytelling. Notable sites such as Skinwalker Ranch have been central to ongoing investigation. Here, teams of scientists, engineers, and independent researchers have observed phenomena over extended periods, documenting unusual lights, electromagnetic anomalies, and reports of shadow-like figures. Sophisticated equipment captures fleeting glimpses of lights that appear and vanish without discernible source, while sensors record unexplained energy fluctuations. Researchers often describe a sense of quiet anticipation. The night feels alive, attentive, and patient, offering subtle signs rather than dramatic displays. For listeners, imagining these carefully orchestrated observations creates a sense of shared experience, one that is calm, reflective, and richly layered with the mystery of the unseen. UAPs have also been observed near military training areas, often by highly trained personnel. Pilots, radar operators, and other professionals have recorded objects moving with unusual precision, accelerating rapidly, and hovering silently. Many of these encounters have been corroborated with instruments, adding credibility to descriptions that might otherwise be dismissed. Official programs, such as the Pentagon's UAP Task Force, continue to study these incidents with a focus on safety, data analysis, and pattern recognition. Even in these highly controlled investigations, much remains unresolved, highlighting the persistent mystery of the night skies. For the listener, this continuity between historical accounts, modern observation, and official documentation creates a gentle bridge from curiosity to reflection, sustaining calm engagement without fear or urgency. Modern investigations also emphasize environmental and scientific measurement. Researchers carefully record weather conditions, light pollution, atmospheric anomalies, and other natural variables, striving to differentiate ordinary phenomena from the unexplained. In many cases, these measurements validate known explanations: planets, satellites, distant aircraft, or rare meteorological effects. Yet a remarkable number of observations resist conventional interpretation, exhibiting behavior that is deliberate, intelligent, or inconsistent with known natural laws. These moments of subtle anomaly, lights that pause and pivot, shadow-like forms that appear and dissolve, energy fluctuations without discernible source, sustain the gentle tension between comprehension and wonder, inviting the mind to observe with calm attentiveness. Technology has also enhanced documentation for civilian witnesses and amateur investigators. High-resolution cameras, night vision devices, and infrared sensors allow individuals to capture phenomena that were once fleeting or imperceptible. These recordings, often shared through online platforms, provide a quiet community of observation where patterns can be compared and studied without sensationalism. Even without dramatic effects or loud surprises, these moments of capture, subtle glows moving across an empty field, shadows drifting through a forest clearing, or transient lights above abandoned structures, offer a meditative rhythm. For the listener, these modern accounts reinforce the idea that the night is both watchful and gentle, full of moments to notice and contemplate rather than to fear. Collaboration between technology, careful observation, and historical context is particularly compelling. Researchers often cross-reference contemporary sightings with archival accounts, finding remarkable similarities in patterns of movement, timing, and environmental context. Some lights recur seasonally or in specific geographic patterns, shadowy forms appear consistently in certain wooded regions, and anomalies at desert ranches echo decades of prior observations. This layering of data, historical record, and modern technology enhances both credibility and intrigue. It invites listeners to imagine a patient, watchful night, one that offers gentle mysteries, deliberate glimpses, and subtle signs, all framed by the careful attention of observers who move slowly and notice deeply. Psychological research complements these investigations, examining how human perception interacts with the environment and instrumentation. Isolated locations, low-light conditions, and attentive observation create heightened sensitivity to subtle movement, sound, and light. Even when phenomena can be explained by natural causes, the experience of witnessing them remains immersive and meditative. Unresolved observations, however, invite reflection. The mind recognizes patterns, contemplates possibility, and engages in gentle curiosity. Modern investigators often describe this dual experience, where calm observation is paired with subtle awe, a perfect match for bedtime storytelling, where the listener can drift between attention and relaxation, curiosity and serenity. Finally, modern investigations remind us of the continuity of human fascination. The same careful observation practiced by scientists, engineers, and hobbyists today mirrors the patience of ranchers, forest dwellers, and airfield workers who documented lights and shadows decades ago. Technology amplifies our capacity to observe, but it does not erase the mystery. It merely allows us to perceive it with greater clarity and precision. For listeners, this reinforces a gentle rhythm. Curiosity can coexist with calm, observation can be deliberate and soothing, and the night can remain a space where mystery unfolds quietly, without threat or alarm. Through the lens of modern investigation, we see that the unexplained is not chaotic or overwhelming. It is subtle, deliberate, and deeply intertwined with both history and human perception. Lights that hover silently, shadows that move with quiet intent, and energy anomalies recorded by instruments all invite the mind to linger, reflect, and imagine. They remind us that mystery can coexist with calm, and that careful observation, whether through the eyes of a trained scientist or the attentive imagination of a listener, reveals the night as a place of quiet wonder and gentle intrigue. As you drift further into sleep, allow these modern discoveries to settle softly in your mind, providing both fascination and serenity as the journey toward rest continues. As your body relaxes and your mind drifts gently, it's time to reflect on the journey we've shared through quiet ranches, shadowed forests, and deserts under softly glowing lights. Across centuries and cultures, humans have observed subtle phenomena in the night, hovering lights, fleeting shadows, and gentle presences that invite calm curiosity rather than fear. These experiences remind us that mystery can coexist with serenity, and observation itself can be meditative. Consider the witnesses who came before us: ranchers, hikers, security personnel, and researchers, each quietly noticing, recording, and reflecting upon these subtle occurrences. Their attentiveness and calm curiosity mirror the way your mind now engages with the night, observing without urgency, reflecting without anxiety. You are part of this continuum, connecting with centuries of human fascination and shared wonder. Personal perception is central to this reflection. The mind naturally seeks patterns in movement, light, and shadow, blending imagination with observation. Even unresolved phenomena offer gentle engagement, inviting calm contemplation. As you lie in bed, allow yourself to imagine distant lights hovering silently, shadows drifting slowly among trees, or faint energy pulsing through deserted fields. These experiences encourage curiosity while maintaining tranquility, reinforcing a meditative rhythm that prepares the mind for rest. In these quiet moments, the night becomes a companion, offering fascination, reflection, and serenity. Mystery is not threatening. It is an invitation to observe, wonder, and let go. Let this gentle awareness carry you further into calm, preparing both body and mind for the soothing journey of sleep ahead. As your breathing slows and your body sinks deeper into comfort, it's time to gently close this journey through the night's quiet mysteries. We have wandered through isolated ranches, forests, and deserts, observing hovering lights, subtle shadows, and delicate presences that move silently and patiently. Now, you can let these images settle softly in your mind, guiding attention toward calm and rest. Imagine distant lights glimmering across a desert, shadows drifting between forest trees, or soft, silent movements over abandoned airfields. These phenomena are gentle companions, observed without urgency, mysterious without threat. They encourage quiet attention and reflective curiosity, allowing your imagination to drift freely while remaining safe and serene. Focus on your own breath. Each inhalation brings calm awareness. Each exhalation releases tension. Let the rhythm of night, the soft glows, subtle movements, and quiet energy guide your mind toward relaxation. There is no need to solve the mysteries. Simply notice, reflect, and let your thoughts flow like gentle currents. The night, with its soft lights and patient shadows, becomes a lullaby, wrapping your mind in calm and gentle intrigue. Allow curiosity and calm to coexist, carrying you into deeper rest. Drift slowly, imagining the serene landscapes, the subtle phenomena, and the quiet watchfulness of the world around you. Sleep unfolds naturally here, with mystery, wonder, and tranquility guiding you softly into dreams.